The San Diego Padres may need to add one more bat this offseason, and I got some great recommendations for you, AJ Preller. How's it going, everyone? My name's FamedFriar. Welcome back to another video where today we're going to be discussing the need for another bat on this Padres roster. Obviously, the addition of Xander Bogaerts was some of the biggest news we've ever heard, besides maybe Manny Machado and Juan Soto in the history of the San Diego Padres. But you also have to factor in we do have a couple spots in the roster that really need to be upgraded. We're going to talk about in this video. So obviously, the Padres have an insanely top half heavy lineup, and we're missing, maybe one more player. There's one player out of the equation that we need to add, and I'm going to be talking about it. I mean, obviously, right now our current starting lineup, we have Jose Azocar in left field, or we have Trent Grisham in center field. Yes, we know these guys, they're decent, but let's be honest, if we want to win a World Series, you can't really have that talent level starting in a roster. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these bats I want to discuss. So the first bat's going to be Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo came off of a year where he did not perform to some of the best of his ability. Joey Gallo is he's a three-dimensional hitter. In terms of three-dimensional, I mean, he's either hitting a home run, he's either striking out, or he's walking, which is very, very tough to make out. And, it's like, that's just not really Preller's MO, but that's what we need right now. This Padres team's missing a little bit of slug, and we get not a little bit of slug, we get a lot of slug from Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo is a slugger. He's a guy that could hit 40 home runs in a season, which currently, besides Juan Soto and the impending return of Fernando Jr., I don't think there's anyone on this roster that can currently hit 40 home runs in a season. That's just my opinion. So when you factor that in, it's like, what is the moves we need to make so that we can do this? What do we need to do so we can do that? And Joey Gallo at first, before we signed Xander Bogaerts, it's like, I don't really want Joey Gallo. But now we signed Xander Bogaerts. Now you need this. And Joey Gallo plays elite defense. He can play first base, he can play third base, he can play left, he can play center, he can play right. So I'm willing to watch the guy strike out and watch him put balls over the fence as well. He's going to strike out just as much as Trent Grisham, but he's also going to put 3 times the amount of home runs over the fence as Trent Grisham. And he's one of AJ's guys, as we always discuss. Preller has fascinations over certain baseball players, and Joey Gallo happens to be one of them. Now we're going to move on to the next person on my list, and that's a trade target that I priorly discussed in the last video, and that's Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez is an improved version of Jake Cronenworth. The guy can play every position like Jake Cronenworth. The guy hits for a better average. He's almost like the Tony Gwynn styled hitter. I would never compare him to Tony Gwynn, but he has that style of Tony Gwynn where he puts balls in play consistently. He never strikes out. He hits singles. He may put a couple over the fence. But yes, this is a guy that Preller would really like, and I think Preller's been in ongoing conversation with the Minnesota Twins about making a trade happen. We're not even talking about the trade package because I talked about in my last video, in my opinion, what it would take, but let's specifically talk about Luis Arraez. He came off of a career year. He still has years of control left with him. Like I said, he just came off a career year where he was an all-star. He hit above 300. He's going to hit above 300 again. The guy's going to be a career 300 hitter, and he just has a little less power than, Jake Cronenworth, but he also strikes out not as much. He can turn around the velo, which Jake Cronenworth has been struggling with. And I understand Jake Cronenworth is very, very likable, but he's also very, very expendable if you get Luis Arraez. Now, the last person on this list that can play first base, and a guy that's not going to get a lot of love, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for putting him in the thumbnail, and a lot of flack for even discussing his name, that's Justin Turner. Justin Turner is a free agent that's probably not going to go back to the Dodgers. And the thing with Justin Turner is he's a great baseball player. Like, as much as we hate him, he's a great baseball player. The guy's 38 years old. He's still having good seasons. He's still putting together good seasons at this age. If we can sign him to a 1-year, $8-9 million deal, and if he just faced strictly lefties, you can play him at third sometimes. You can play him at first. You'll mainly DH him. He's going to have value, and he brings veteran leadership. I know we have leaders in Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, and even Juan Soto, but the more leadership you bring to a clubhouse, the better. The more experience you bring, the better. Justin Turner is a really good pure hitter, and as much as we like to hate on him as Padres fans, now that he's a free agent, he's unlikely to return to the Dodgers, I got to give him some credit, so that's why I put him on this list. Now, another worthy name to discuss, another interesting ad would be Rowdy Tellez, who would be a guy that would come via trade from the Milwaukee Brewers. He just came off a season where he hit 35 jacks. That's 35 jumbo jacks in a season if you're in San Diego. And, you know, I really like him. He's a very good hitter. He's an all-or-nothing hitting hitter like Joey Gallo. He has a lot more power than Joey Gallo. He plays first base, he DHs. But the fact of the matter with him is he's not been able to consistently put these numbers up in his career, which is a little scary. But I also believe in his ability, and I think he's not going to cost a lot. I mean, MLB Trade Values website has him at a 0 value. So the fact that he's at a 0 value means you could give up really just a Ryan Weathers, who doesn't have a lot of value on the San Diego Padres, and not a lot of people believe in a Ryan Weathers, which is very, very unfortunate. I really enjoy Ryan Weathers and I wish him the best, but adding a Rowdy Tellez, an all-or-nothing guy, is really, really important. This team needs an all-or-nothing guy. We got a lot of people that can get on base. Now we need someone that we can take a risk on putting the ball over the fence. And Rowdy Tellez is going to be one of those guys, and that's why I'm such a big fan of him. Now the last person I'm going to discuss is more of a contact hitter. Once again, another veteran, but a name that's been brought up before and a guy that I would love to see on the San Diego Padres. That's going to be Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley has a trouble staying healthy. He really struggles to stay healthy, which is very, very unfortunate. He's an insane baseball player. He's one of the best pure hitters in baseball when he's on the field. But the big thing with Michael Brantley is he's another guy. Leadership, veteran, presence. When you want to win a World Series and you're spending money to buy a World Series, sometimes you got to overpay for the Michael Brantleys and Justin Turners of the world, because that's what it takes to take you from the level of having experience in the postseason to guys that are going all in to win the postseason, putting their body on the line, putting the rest of the gas in their tank to get there. These guys have been here. Justin Turner's been there. He's won a World Series. Same with Michael Brantley. Now, Michael Brantley could play a little bit of left field till Tatis comes back. He also has the ability to DH. So if you get him, he's really a valuable player, and he's a pure hitter. And another interesting fact I'll throw in there about Michael Brantley as we wrap up the discussion on him, the Padres actually drafted him and traded him and Corey Kluber to the Indians in a trade. Very, very interesting little fact. So in that case, let's bring Michael Brantley home, San Diego. But yeah, guys, that's my list for today. Guys, if you are yet to hit that subscribe button, what are you doing? We post the best Padres content you will see, the most updated Padres content you will see on the internet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
305 to the 619, baby. Let's go. Let's go, San Diego. Live that shit up, San Diego. Let's fucking go. Woo! It's our fucking house.
Hey.
It's our house right here, baby. Let's go.
I love it. Hey.